situations day by day.
Wonderful. How has it changed your approach to the topic?
Well, it certainly made me much more aware that people have stress and they need a way to quickly remedy the situation. It's also gotten me intrigued about learning a little bit more about how the brain functions in terms of repetitive patterns and things like this, basically where people deal with triggering situations and then how to stop those triggers and that sort of thing. Learn new patterns with their thinking.
Was there, I guess you already answered this, was there any obstacles or hesitation to participating in the class?
The only hesitation I had was a matter of, would it meet my schedule? Because I'm a busy retired person.
Mm-hmm. What was one of your major revelations during the Mastering Stress sessions?
I would say most probably the procedure where I stop, set myself erect, and I think through the situation that's at hand and develop a new pattern of thinking before I act on the activity or the stressor that's in my own life. For me, I found that I did have some stressors and I wasn't thinking about it in terms of being stressed, period.
Mm-hmm. In terms of better mastering stress for yourself, what success have you achieved because of participating in this class?
Well, I've immediately saw an opportunity to start using some of the process with a friend of mine that I was doing some counseling with, and I also referred him to a couple of books, and that's helped him immensely. This particular person had an estranged relationship that he was dealing with.
Can you share some of the challenges you faced and how the course instruction helped you meet those challenges better?
One particular challenge I faced is I like to eat, and overeating is not healthy for me, so I have to learn to eat less. One day I was in a Target store and my wife and I were overwhelmed by the popcorn odors, I'm sorry. And the odors made me really want a bag of popcorn. And then I began to think and apply the practices that you had mentioned to us or trained us in the stress management class. And I began to say to myself, when I get out of this store, I won't smell that odor anymore. And probably the desire for that popcorn will go away. And so I practiced standing firm, walking out the door, and the odors went away, and I never gave it a second thought except as an illustration.
Has the course helped you to find greater satisfaction and enjoyment in living?
Yes, in the sense that it got me attentive to my ways of thinking and responding to stimuli. But I feel like I need more work there or review, going back over some of the information and learning a little bit more about management of the thought life in terms of triggering foods and things like that. For me, that was my stressor.
Mm-hmm. That goes along with this question. Considering where you are now in respect to stress mastering, what would you have missed out on if you didn't participate in this course?
Well, quite likely I wouldn't have developed a desire to understand these things a little better and get to know them and put them into practice and be able to teach others. It would have been easy to have missed out on all of that.
You mentioned about your friend. How has this course benefited the lives of those in your world? What domino effect has it had on others through you? You included your friend. How about any others or any other domino effect?
Well, a couple of things. My friend read the books that I had referred him to on heart math books that you had shared, and he was actually quoting from me some of the things that were helping him already from the book. And I haven't read the book yet, but he was sharing some things. I thought that was helpful.
Mhm.
And then I recently had an opportunity to meet with a psychologist friend of mine who actually worked with people with addictions, and he was in a clinic very successfully, and movie stars and people like that would bring their children to him when they were dealing with addictions, and he and I struck up some more conversations, and I will explore with him more about the pathology of the brain and how it thinks, and how you
Mhm.
can adapt to addictive behaviors, and that but basically at a subconscious level and things. So it really got me thinking more about our thought processes and what goes on in our memories, and repetitive type patterns that people establish, and particularly patterns of stressful response or emotional response, such as outburst of anger or other things like that. It could be harmful for people.
Mhm. You can see how that anger really has caused a lot of destruction in the world, right, Paul?
Oh yes.
Yeah. What would you say to viewers of this video who, if you knew they're considering and learning more about stress and enrolling in this Mastering Your Stress course, what would you say to a friend who asked you for thoughts about it, or family member?
Oh, I would encourage them to take the class and immediately begin to put into practice the principles that you're teaching, and also to read the books, to schedule some time to set aside reading the books and learn how to manage, especially emotional response to stressors.
Mhm. Is there anything else we didn't ask or I didn't ask that you would like to add?
No, nothing that I can think of.
Okay. Is it, if there's anything you'd like to go back to answer again?
No, not right now.
Could you talk about a little bit more about the service you provide for individuals?
I'm in a situation where I do a lot of coaching of individuals, and sometimes these individuals might be having a difficult time, responding to other people and their leaders, and so they're really working through how do I respond to people and things like that, and learning how to take risk, and I'm trying to work with them to help them make very intelligent decisions about their choice of words, their actions that they take, and think through things, like that before just jumping off and doing something.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's part of what we learned about the neutral tool, having a sense of pause. Like, have you found that and helping people to just stop in their tracks to reconsider how they would respond?
That's what I'm actually just starting to really practice this with people. So it's something new to me. I wouldn't say that I've fully developed it yet, but
Mhm.
yes, that's what I'm talking about. Teaching them to stop, to pause, to reflect in the situation, to think a little different. I'm very involved in biblical type studies, so I teach about renewing the mind, and getting, keeping the heart clean and pure, and that sort of thing.
Mhm. Mhm. And you can see how this class can be helpful to help folks in that respect.
Yes, it can, particularly if it's practiced on an ongoing basis.
Mhm.
It's just like anything else. If you hear it and then don't do something with it, it's probably not going to benefit you a lot. But it's about hearing and the doing, or putting it into practice.
Mhm. Well, that's great.